When my mother's liver was failing and I saw her getting sicker and sicker, it was terrifying. And to stand by and watch that was really difficult. And I realized that there was something that could be done, and that was to be a live donor.
I really enjoy my artwork. I was more towards the fine arts. That's where my heart and my passion was.
My mother's always been an artist. She had shows in New York and in Washington up until her disease really kicked in.
Before the surgery, I enjoyed my life less. It really became a sadness that was hanging over me. Eventually, I couldn't shake it anymore. We used to take walks, and my body became weak going up a hill. Everything was exhausting me. Even when I was lying down, resting later on, I was still exhausted.
My mother was diagnosed with a disease called primary biliary cirrhosis, and it's a very slow progressing illness. So you kind of don't really notice that the person is getting sicker. And as a result, you just sort of become used to less energy, more fatigue.
It was so gradual that I didn't really notice it. So therefore, when I was told that this was really a deadly disease, I didn't believe it. But eventually, the symptoms appeared, and I had to listen.
And then all of a sudden, her liver went into failure. It's almost like somebody throws cold water on your head. You know it's going to happen. We knew it would happen. It's just, you're never really prepared, I guess. The process began with my mother's gastroenterologist. He was the person who initially diagnosed my mother's illness. And then once her liver went into failure, he referred us to UPMC. The hepatologist was the first person that we met, and he was instrumental in getting the entire process started. Her MELD score was very low, thus putting her very low on the transplant list. So the problem with that, obviously, is that you're not likely to get a liver from a deceased donor very quickly. She was visibly losing a lot of weight. Every day, she would become more and more frail. Within 3 to 6 months, her condition would become very critical. And at that point, I started to really talk to her about doing the live donation, and she was very resistant.
When I heard that I could have parts of Annette's liver, I said, absolutely not. I was more thinking of my daughter at that time. That is such a major sacrifice. Eventually, I got so sick that I just really couldn't fight back anymore.
Once I made that decision that I wanted to be that donor, things started to move very quickly.
The doctors had to reassure me over and over again that my daughter will be all right. That was a really difficult thing for me to accept, that she would. I mean, this is a vital organ we're talking about. By the way, a serious question, how are your thoughts? My whole transplant team was wonderful. They were very attentive.
I have to say, everybody on the team was very available. And honestly, especially with the surgeon, he was, in my mind and in my heart, actually, a miracle worker. His focus when we would meet with him would be so much about my mother's quality of life. If I have a question, I email him, and he emails me right back. I mean, these are very special people.
Since my transplant, not only do I feel better than before, but like years before, I never even remembered how I was. I was full of energy. Actually, I thought that's a waste of time to go to bed. I had so many more things that I wanted to do. all at once.
Oh my gosh, my mother is doing so much better. I mean, we didn't even realize, she herself didn't even realize how sick she was because her disease is so slow progressing, how sick she was for such a long time. And her quality of life has improved dramatically from even years prior to the liver failure and the transplant. Having my mother around is wonderful. I see her every single day and we get together, we have our tea. She's getting back to her artwork. It's now, like the old days.
Since my surgery, I really enjoy my artwork again because my mind is clear. I can focus again. I have nothing but gratitude and also towards my doctor, towards my family. But that is one thing I wanted everybody who has a transplant to know. You are so full of energy afterwards and you want to catch up. I was always saying, I have to catch up on this. I'm still catching up, by the way.
If you think about it, I went to sleep. My mother was dying. And I woke up and my mother was recovering. And that's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable that can be done. And the people that are involved with it and the kind of passion that comes from it. It's not just that this is their job. This is more than a job to them. I mean, they are devoting time and energy and really passion into what they do. And it's amazing.